marathon session. As you all know, for those of you that are new, welcome to the team. Just want to say, if anything is confusing, do not worry, it will come with time. Nothing easy comes overnight. Okay. Serious face on, nothing other than sharpness for this week. Okay, as we know, the yen is seeing weakness again, as it should have been last week as well. Okay, could be, from what I'm understanding, there is some swings in the yen. It could be due to the Olympics. From what I'm hearing, I do not know if it's true, there is some government intervention. They're trying to manipulate the strength of the yen due to some cost issues. Okay, the yen is weakening, thus the Olympics are becoming a lot more expensive for Japan, and thus we're seeing some government intervention. That's what I'm understanding from what I'm reading. Because the reality is last week's strength in the yen shouldn't have happened. There was the technicals, there was not enough sell pressure there from the market itself, unless there was some manipulation for that strength to happen. Okay, so maybe that's the case. Who knows? Anyways, moving on, that's something we need to be aware of. Okay, we're going to roll through the marathon list today. Because it's Marathon Monday, we're going to go a little bit faster. Do not worry if there is going to be a signal, and there will be signals on these pairs because we have lots of opportunities coming back with today's weakness of the yen. Okay, it will be done individually, meaning there will be a video analysis done individually that goes more in depth, along with the signal targets, entries, okay, SL, so forth. All right, so we're going to be a little bit more at my pace today. Euro USD, all right? Let me move this so that we can go boom, boom. Fundamentals, bringing it up on the desk. Okay. USD positive 1.6. Euro is currently at a negative 0.9. We can call this fundamentals are flat. Okay. We expect it relatively to be flat. Okay. The USD is gaining some strength. So when fundamentals are flat, we automatically go to strategy 2. Now, update. Usually on Tuesdays, we do an educational session. The educational session tomorrow will be moved to Wednesday. And the reason is because Wednesday we will be going live over strategy 1, strategy 2 in depth, along with our new entry checklist that we've been working on. Okay. And it's going to be a little bit of a longer session. All right. It will start at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, but it's important. It will be recorded, and there will also be a booklet that's sent out to the team with strategy 1, strategy 2, so that you understand a little bit more in depth. Okay, so just letting you know. All right, try to make it for Wednesday's live session if you can. If not, it will be recorded. Okay, so anyways, what do we have here? Flat market. We go to strategy 2, monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly upper, weekly lower, daily. Okay, we have a push, exhaustion. We're seeing a continuational push. We're seeing sell pressure off previous high. We expect at some point that it will continue to the upside, but there could be a level of consolidation until someone figures out who's got the strength, okay? Now, I do believe that the euro will have a little bit more strength over time than the USD. That's due to, okay, their essential supply of the US dollar. They have a deficit of now $400+ billion, and that will have to be figured out, okay? So anyways, what's going on? Again, push, exhaustion, continuation move to previous high. We will likely now begin exhaustion. Where will exhaustion likely begin? Between buy pressure at its weekly and sell pressure at its daily. Let's now take it to the daily time frame. Okay, what do we see here? We see continuous lower lows. All right, lower lows, lower lows. What we're going to be waiting for is price to make its way down to its weekly. We're going to be then looking for a limit order to the upside. We're going to sell at previous high. Okay, we may, depending on where fundamentals are, play with strategy 2 in between for consolidation. As far as this move to the upside goes, that's out of the question because price failed to break this downtrend to the upside, and now fundamentals are flat. Okay, so we are now going to be patient on Euro USD. We're moving on to EUR-CAD. Euro at a negative 0.9. Canadian dollar is currently at a positive 0.6. Okay, again, we know this is what, relatively flat, and the conditions of what makes a pair flat will be explained on Wednesday. All right, so as we now take it to the monthly time frame, all right, we have what? We have a strong move to the downside from our monthly zone, okay? And that makes complete sense, okay? That was strength in the CAD as demand for oil started to increase. We see buy pressure coming back in. That is expected at our weekly zone. It is not a zone to take lightly like our monthlies, okay? all our zones that we identify are not to take lightly, but the monthly, weekly are the most respected. Okay, as we now take it to the weekly time frame, we're seeing that consolidation. Now, maybe the reason why fundamentals are more flat than strong on the Canadian dollar side is because of the buy support from the weekly zone. We know that there's buy protection here, but we know that eventually there will be sell pressure coming back in at these lower lows. Fundamentals will gain strength with the CAD as we see more economies open up, okay, and demand continues to increase. Because remember, Canadian dollar is correlated to the price of crude, but crude isn't just cars moving around. Okay, everything you have in your house, from your computer to the desks that you have, everything has oil involved in it, okay? Whether it's the shipment of that product, whether it's the actual development of the product, or the machines that use oils to develop that product, it's more manufacturing that affects the price of crude than anything. Transportation helps as well. But again, what do we know? We're looking for a sell limit order at contact, okay? Staying the same. We now have buy pressure. We could see a move. We will look for a sell limit order for a move to the downside. I do like our SL. And the reason is because as we start to get closer, okay, as price starts to move more sideways, we get closer to this downtrend. And then we also have sell protection from previous high, so upper level of consolidation, and from sell pressure at this downtrend. And we will look for a move back to previous low. And what's cool about this is we could see a push breaking our weekly to the downside at some point. And that depends on how strong the move is. So we may, if price moves strong to the downside, we may move SL rather than close out to try to grab those pips for a continuation move with the tight SL, but it depends on how price moves. Moving on to Euro Aussie. All right, Euro currently negative 0.9, Aussie's currently at a 1.2, 0.9 to 1.2 is flat, okay? That doesn't do anything for me, okay? So we're strategy 2, monthly upper, monthly mid, monthly lower. Here we have higher highs that price broke beneath. When we take it to the monthly time frame, okay? Let's simplify the complicated. Sell pressure broke buy pressure, push, exhaustion. Question is now, is buy pressure going to have enough power to break not only above its monthly again, but also higher time frame uptrend? And the answer is, when fundamentals are flat, probably not. Okay, and that's why when we take it to the daily time frame, we're starting to see some sell pressure here. All right, we do have extension. Okay, so if we do identify, I just want to make this clear, I'm not that attracted to this pair. Okay, I'm not, because the fundamentals are very wonky on this one. Okay, but we do have ranges. All right, we definitely have ranges here. And what this means is we could find quick in, quick outs, right? So for example, if we see that sell pressure breaks mid-range and moves to the downside, we could have a quick in, quick out here. If we see support, meaning buy pressure consistently supporting, we may have a quick in, quick out back to previous high. We will watch Euro Aussie, but as of right now, we will have better options on different pairs. Moving on to Euro Swiss franc, okay, monthly time frame. All right, what do we know? The Swiss franc has been relatively strong as of late. All right, Euro is currently at a negative 0.9. Swiss franc is currently at a negative 3.1. We have optimism in the market. The Swiss franc is starting to see some weakness. We're looking to pair against the Swiss franc, pair against the yen. Okay, but again, the yen is being a little bit iffy. We don't know why. Sometimes there's strength in the yen that comes out of fucking nowhere, and we don't know why. Hard to figure out. And it could be the Olympic situation. It really could be, because if we think about it, the investment a country has to make to develop. I live in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver had the Olympics here in 2010. They literally built a city. There's a village. There's a place called Olympic Village in Vancouver that is probably 7-8 blocks of high rises that were built just for the athletes. Then you have stadiums and this and that, speed skating and all that. That all takes space, and they build massive stadiums for that. It's the way the Olympics aren't as powerful as they used to be, but the world, pays attention, and they spend a lot of money for that. We're talking about many, many billions in terms of investment. Now the yen significantly weakening, that hurts Japan. Trying to finish the projects, that hurts them. It becomes much more expensive. Remember, we talked about that at our educational session. When a country has a weaker currency, okay, it hurts them until eventually it becomes weak enough where then it becomes profitable for other companies to start buying again due to the discount, okay, or other countries to start buying due to the discount. And then we call that the cycle, right? The cycle of flow, or whatever it's called, flow cycle. Anyway, so we do know that the yen is iffy. Okay, so Swiss franc may be the option as of right now. All right, so what do we know? Last week we were waiting for a push, exhaustion, continuation move. We failed to see exhaustion. Thus, this entry became invalid. We did not find entry on this pair, so we can remove it. Now, what's happening now? We're finding buy sensitivity where? At significant area sensitivity, right? We have also our daily zone and also uptrend. So we're having an impulse move. So what we're going to wait for is an impulse move to the upside, retest of area sensitivity before then potential consolidation. I do believe we'll start consolidation at this level, but it depends on where fundamentals are as we make our way back to the upside, but we could have just quick in, quick out, back to previous low. We have to be careful of this pair. We will keep this on the monitor, but the reality is I do believe because of the daily lower lows, you can see this on the weekly as well. Take a look at this downtrend, very well respected, right? Swiss franc has been respecting that strength off the downtrend quite well. At every contact, we have a nice move. Okay, if we make our way, okay, something of this nature, we may have a squeeze, okay, before then the continuation will move back to previous low. So for us to enter to the downside here, we have to be damn sure because we could just see a squeeze. So the best entry may be at this downtrend rather at its zone. So we have to be a little bit more patient on Euro Swiss franc. Moving on to Euro Yen, which we are currently in, okay. Now, let's remove this downtrend from the higher time frame so we can see the price action formation that's looking really nice, okay? All right. Monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly upper, weekly lower, daily upper, daily lower, 4H mid-range zone, okay? What do we see here? We see a strong move to the upside, okay, as expected. Why? Euro is stronger than the yen. Yen is a safe haven status. As economies were starting to get more optimistic, yen started to weaken. Now we're starting to see some flippy floppy, but today the yen is the weakest pair at a negative 5.7, euros at a negative 0.9. So the move to the upside on the euro here against the yen isn't necessarily due to the euro strength at the moment, but we would be betting against the yen weakness, which is something we need to be careful of. Okay, we got bit a couple times in the past due to some random ass strength in the yen. We need to keep that in mind, okay? But what we are seeing is what will be a profitable move, at least to previous high, okay? So what do we have here? Push, impulse, we will see move back to previous high. We do have a lower time frame stop hunt, okay? And we can see that here, all right? We have sell pressure, right? Usually what would happen here is, when there's a ton of buy pressure, is we have a move, exhaustion, buy pressure back to the upside. Here we have stop hunt, okay? Sellers taking price, especially on a Friday, okay? We had weakness, low volume, okay? Move to the downside, buy pressure coming back up. All those stop orders are taken out, okay? Now we're going to the 4H time frame. Okay, and we have this downtrend that we have to be careful of. This is our next battle here for Euro USD or for Euro Yen. Okay, what I do believe is this: we may have a move back to the downside before then a continuation. If we do have a move back to the downside here, we will have a reverse head and shoulders, which means I will be looking for a re-entry or add-on to position depending on where fundamentals are with the yen. Okay, for continuation move at least back to previous high. All right, so it may be its own separate trade. Back to, in terms of the re-entry, back to previous high, it will close out and will stay in terms of this long entry continuation move, okay? So moving on from Euro Yen, obviously on the burner, okay? Onto Euro Kiwi. Okay, monthly time frame, Euro Kiwi. Euro currently at a negative 0.9. Kiwi is currently at a negative 1.4. Okay, so fundamentals are flat. When it's that separated, they're flat. We automatically go to strategy 2. Okay, again, Wednesday, 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern. It will be about an hour and a half, 2-hour session going over strategy 1, strategy 2, examples plus entry checklist. Okay, so what do we see here? Sell pressure from our monthly zone, okay? We have a retest and then boom, another injection of sell pressure. Injection 1, injection 2, continuation move to the downside. That's expected. Euro's gaining strength against the Kiwi, okay? Now, what do we see? We had buy pressure coming at our weekly lower zone. We have an impulse to the upside. Now, fundamentals are flat. So the question is, are we going to see re-injection of sell pressure here at our daily for maybe a move to the downside. Maybe what we do have is consolidation. Now, I would prefer strategy 2 entries at our weekly zones. I would prefer it at our monthly or weekly zones. Daily zones, we have to see historical sensitivity off these daily zones. And for me, well, let's look historically. Okay. At contact, we have impulse, contact, impulse, 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 impulse. Okay, so we do have sensitivity here. This is obviously why it's our daily zone. Okay, here we have impulse again. We have here stop hunt, back to the downside, impulse. Okay, but as of lately, as of recently, we were seeing early injections of sell pressure, which price is now breaking above, which is a little bit iffy for me. So what I'm going to say is we're not going to be looking for strat 2 entry at daily upper. We're going to be looking for strat 2 daily at weekly. So eventually price will make its way, boom, stop, sell limit order, and then a move back to our daily upper. So we will look to capitalize on this move to the downside. Okay, I'm not interested in the daily anymore because as of recently, we were seeing early injections of sell pressure. Less respect. Okay, so Euro Kiwi, Aussie CAD next. We're taking it to the Aussie pairs. Aussie's at a positive 1.2. CAD is at a negative 0.6. Fundamentals are too close at that level for strat 1, excuse me. So we move to strat 2. Okay, so we're going to take it to the monthly time frame. All right, what are we looking at here? Monthly time frame. We just want to simplify the complicated. We're not looking to make anything harder. Okay, well, we've identified our zones, our monthly zones, which is identified in blue, our weekly, which is in yellow. We have lower lows here, so we have higher time frame downtrend. We see a strong push from this downtrend. Now, the strong push is going where? Let's zoom in a bit so we can see this a bit better. What's happening here? Strong push to where? Monthly zone. Right? So do we expect sell pressure even with fundamental support to just break to the downside? Absolutely not. We will expect an impulse to the upside to our weekly before then a continuational move to retest previous low. So the question here becomes, all right, how strong is our monthly zone? Well, we do see some support, not so much here. Okay, not so much here. We do know that there was an impulse to the downside. We can see based on the range of this price action candle, not so much. Respect. We do have respect at previous contact. Let's take it back. Okay, lots of respect here. Just ton of respect. Okay, so we know that sell pressure just won't have an easy time. When we take it to the weekly, let's talk about this fundamentally too, right? So Aussie right now is seeing weakness against the Canadian dollar, okay? And the question becomes is, because what we know is we have to start thinking, we have to think critically. We have to start exploring all ideas. So fundamentally, okay, this is where my mind goes. The Australian economy is directly correlated to the Asian economy. The Asian economy is slowly picking up, okay, which is why we have Aussie on the strong side at positive 1.2. The Aussie is second in terms of strength right now behind the USD at the moment, which I do believe is temporary strength, more temporary than the Aussie. Okay, and that makes sense because that could also be due to a couple things. This move, this impulse, this could be due to monthly buy sensitivity, 100%. That's one of the reasons. And the other reason is due to Asian, okay, a little bit of Asian strength in terms of the economy, okay? Now, we know that the Aussie, why is Aussie significantly correlated to the Asian economy? It has to do with their, trade flow, right? Imports, exports, number one on the list is China, right? So extremely significant. Same with New Zealand. That's why they're also correlated. So Canadian dollar, what do we expect though from the Canadian dollar, right? Again, strength of oil, we saw oil strengthen last week, but we saw Canadian dollar, especially against the yen, weaken, right? So we know that there is some indifferences there that could happen. We know that the Canadian dollar also is probably going to gain some more strength other than right now we're seeing some weakness in the Canadian dollar. I think it has to do to potential closures again in the UK or Manchester. I think Jake sent me a link earlier today. All right. But from what I'm thinking here is I'm thinking we have a potential impulse move on the higher time frame before a continuation move to the downside. Fundamentals are not necessarily supporting it because fundamentals are relatively flat, but they're not downwards. So what I'm trying to say is this. We're looking for a potential move to the upside and potential quick in, quick outs here. So let's identify lower time frame area sensitivity. we're going to use a more potent color so that you can see that. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Here's another level of sensitivity. Okay, so all right, so we're going to have an entry to the upside here, BLO. Now, let's make sense of this. Remember, always have to remember what the higher time frames are saying. We have impulse off area sensitivity, potential higher time frame impulse, right, before continuational move. We know that fundamentals are flat, meaning they're not to the downside, so we don't expect a double confirmation until we reach area of significant sell pressure. And we do know that this is a level of consolidation, right, because fundamentals are flat. We have horizontal sell pressure, we have horizontal buy pressure. Here we can see horizontal buy and sell pressure. This is a level of respect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be placing a buy limit order, okay? Now, here's the thing, right? This is a relatively strong move to the downside, but so is this, right? But so is this, right? Candle close, right? I'm going to be placing a BLO here. It's going to look a little bit lower than the base of these pins. It's going to look something. I'm going to place it on the base of that of these candles. It's going to look, and then SL below these pins, target to previous high. We're looking at a 1.24 RR. Okay, so I'm placing a BLO at, after this live session, right at 0.93515. We do expect buy pressure to make its way at least to previous high. Okay, so Aussie CAD, just putting it down here, okay, team? Okay, Aussie CAD, prepare for BLO on Aussie CAD. All right, so the benefits of joining the live sessions, because the people, I won't be done in time after this. Potentially you will have entry before I'm done live. Okay, so Aussie USD. Move on here. Okay, Aussie USD, positive 1.2. Aussie USD is currently at a positive 1.6. Fundamentals are flat. We go to strat 2. Monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly zones, daily zones. Okay, let's take it in. Let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, strong move to the upside. Aussie strength against the USD for quite some time. We know why. They handled the virus a lot better, didn't they? Okay, boom. We have a move to the upside. What are we seeing? We're seeing some sort of consolidation, right? Buy pressure on a horizontal level, sell pressure on a horizontal level. Okay, but what are we in terms of fundamentals, in terms of strength? Listen, we're seeing USD strength right now. We will continue to see Aussie strength. We're probably just going to be looking for quick in, quick outs. That's the strategy change that we're making, the slight adjustments that we're making during these times, is that we're going to be looking for more quick ins, quick outs, rather than long-term movements. Fundamentals are just flippy floppy, okay? And this makes sense, right? There's just a lot going on. What's going on? We have, well, economies are opening up, but yet virus cases are still going up. And then we have potential new variants, and then we have inflation, and then we have potential increase in interest rates, right? There's a lot of situations, meaning that even if there's strength in one pair, there could be some news that comes in that's not expected that sends it to the downside. So we're looking for more quick in, quick outs until the world sort of settles a bit, okay? So anyways, what do we see here? We see buy pressure on a horizontal level at our weekly zone. We see sell pressure at our daily. We know that this is what? Consolidation. We do have mid-range area of sell pressure. Let's identify that. That's where TP1 is. Okay, we can call this our 4H, okay, mid-range zone. All right, now what do we see here? We see contact. First off, we see lower lows, okay? We see contact, impulse. We may now get double confirmation. I'm not looking to the upside necessarily anymore, okay? If you are in this pair, all right, you shouldn't be in this pair. There was no green light, all right? But if you are, you're probably okay until this level, all right? So yeah, if you are, get out right now and profit. However, there was no green light, so don't enter if there's no green light. The reason why is because I just don't like this bearish engulfing candle, all right? I do not like bearish engulfing candles off downtrends or zones, okay? And thus, this could be a push, exhaustion before a continuational push. We will look for re-entry back at previous low. So there is an adjustment On Aussie USD, okay, we will look for an entry down below, something of this nature, okay? Boom, boom, double confirmation, move back to the upside. If we don't get it, if price moves to the upside, we don't get it, but there are other opportunities out there. So we do want to be very careful with our margin, okay? So that's the adjustment on Aussie USD. We're now taking it to Aussie Yen. Okay, Aussie is currently at a positive 1.2, Yen is currently at a negative 5.7. okay, let's take it to the monthly time frame. We know we're only looking for moves to the upside. We can see here prices beating moves, sell pressure to the upside at our zones, no issue at all. Let's take it to the weekly for a closer look. All right, weekly, we can see this wedge pattern happening, right, which we spoke about. We have push, exhaustion, contact here, consolidation. Price finally found some buy pressure, push, exhaustion, consolidation. We may now have a continuational move. Okay, one thing to understand though, we do want to keep this a little bit lower risk. We are in extension, meaning that price is showing overbought on all indicators. Okay, but that doesn't mean anything really. We know that indicators are not necessarily the number one thing that we look at, but we do need to know that it is extended. Well, what we know is we're waiting for a push to the upside. We said there could be a potential stop hunt. Okay, there could be what looks to be a break. There will be buy pressure that comes in, move back to the upside. That seems to be happening, but it's important that price breaks previous high. We have to wait for push, exhaustion, continuation move. Okay, Aussie Yen on the back burner. We probably will see that happen, just because if the yen stays weak as it is, we will see that happen for sure. But who knows? The yen's been a bitch lately. Okay. Excuse me, a bipolar bitch. All right. Monthly time frame. Aussie is currently at a positive 1.2. Kiwi is currently at a negative 1.4. Okay, fundamentals are technically slightly to the upside, but in my opinion, okay, it's more flat than to the upside, meaning at significant levels of sensitivity, we will still see those impulses. Okay, so we have what? Monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly upper, weekly lower, daily mid-range zone. We know price is now reaching daily mid-range zone. We have, okay, a move to the downside. This is now canceled. Okay, team, this move to the downside is now canceled. Why? Because I do believe that Aussie's fundamentals will strengthen against the Kiwi, and also we do not have the sensitivity that we look for. Okay, Aussie Kiwi to the downside is canceled. All right, team. Now, what's going to happen here? We have an uptrend, lower time frame uptrend. A lot of people are going to think that this is potential double top. Potentially, we do have an impulse. If we do have an impulse, it will be short-lived, okay, before then price tries to make its way to the upside. What we're actually going to be looking for is a potential continuational move at its fibs. So if we identify our fib, okay, what do we have? 38.2, 50, 61.8. Potentially, we have an impulse before a move back to the upside. We could be looking if we have price action confirmation, depending also on fundamentals at the time. Okay, but right now, we are not in Aussie Kiwi short. Not in it. Remove the trade. It is red light. Okay, Swiss franc yen. We know that the Swiss franc is going to continue to have strength over the yen. The question is what's the consistency of that? But we expect a continuational move. Now, the Swiss franc has had more strength than the yen more recently than it did in the past, okay? And that's because the Swiss franc has been more on the positive side than it was here on the weaker side, even though the yen was weaker. That's why we saw more waves than we are seeing now. Now, price is extended. It's extremely important to remember. So anything that's extended, the new strategy is, okay, we keep it lower risk. All right, when we take it to the daily time frame, we are seeing price try to break previous high, okay? We see push, exhaustion, continuational move. We have an early injection of buy pressure off impulse. We're now testing previous high. Okay, so if we get a break of previous high, if we get, and let's identify, let's just move this up here, okay? If we do get a break of previous high with the push, we have to wait for exhaustion, price action, entry confirmation for a continuational move. It will require a lot of strength for price to break this level. We could even see move back to the downside for consolidation, where then we're looking for entry back to previous high. Okay, moving on from Swiss franc yen onto USD-CAD. Okay. USD paired against the CAD. We see USD strength right now at a positive 1.6. CAD is at a positive 0.6. Do we expect the USD to have strength over the CAD for the long run? The answer is absolutely not. Okay, we do not. So the question is here though, is this an impulse move, right? Or an exhaustion, right? Because we have push to the downside, potential exhaustion before continuation move on the higher time frame. We do see buy sensitivity, right, at our daily mid-range zone. Okay, we do have a bullish engulfing candle close, breaking previous high. The question is that going to be a stop hunt or not, right? Because we have consolidation here, right? Buy sensitivity, sell sensitivity. We do have a bullish engulfing candle. However, okay, this bullish engulfing candle doesn't necessarily mean that that's not a stop hunt back to the downside. Okay, so let's now take it to the daily. All right, we have push, exhaustion. We will see lower lows. If we get a break of lower lows to the upside, it means that there will be a continuational push. Okay, so here we have some lower lows, right? Let's identify. Push breaking previous high, exhaustion. We're now waiting for price to break these lower lows, which we'll identify here on the lower time frame. Let's take it to the 1H. Okay. So price could do something of this nature. Once it breaks, we move to the upside. USD-CAD, and that would be impulse. However, not necessarily. Very probable that this happens. And then move back to the downside with Canadian dollar strength. USD-CAD, am I loving this? No. Okay. Am I interested in this? Yes. USD yen, waiting for exhaustion on this pair. All right, USD yen. USD is currently at a positive 1.6. Yen is currently at a negative 5.7. What's interesting about the fundamentals, if you didn't realize, is that actually none of the pairs are relatively strong, right? Bitcoin's strong at 8.9. All right, that's because Tesla announced that they will be allowing Bitcoin holders to buy Teslas again. Elon Musk, I don't know what he's doing with this Twitter account, okay? But anyways, that's why we're seeing some temporary strength here in the Bitcoin. But other than the Bitcoin, we're talking about currencies, okay, country currencies. USD is the strongest at a positive 1.6, which we know is not actually that strong compared to the yen right now, which is a negative 5.7. Okay, so here we are on the monthly time frame. Fundamentals are to the upside. We have a push, exhaustion. We're now going to be waiting for continuational push to our weekly zone before buyers see its next battle of sell pressure, its next army of sellers, okay? As we go to the weekly time frame, what do we have? Push, exhaustion, continuational push, breaking levels, lower time frame levels of sensitivity, right? Our 4H up or 4H lower, right? Now, the important thing is here is that there was no double confirmation. So that's something we need to be careful of because there could be still a higher time frame stop hunt for double confirmation. Although if it was going to happen, I feel like it was going to happen here, all right? We do see price, okay, protecting or I guess respecting this uptrend, okay, which we do have to be aware of, okay? So we're now seeing buy pressure off that, all right? So what we're going to be waiting for is exhaustion, all right? We're going to be waiting for a push. There's going to be a push, potentially even a previous high. Then we're waiting for exhaustion. Remember, USD is not significantly strong, okay? Any strength again in the yen, okay, will bring the USD back to, you know, will bring a little bit of humbleness to it. So we're waiting for exhaustion, continuational push. We're not looking for any entries at extensions, okay? USD yen on the burner. We're going to now take it to USD Swiss franc. Monthly time frame. All right, USD Swiss franc monthly time frame. Monthly upper, monthly mid, monthly lower zone. Okay, here's our weekly mid, and daily mid in between the weekly and the monthlies. Okay, so when we take it to the weekly time frame, when we take a look here, what do we got? Well, first off, let's identify fundamentals. USD positive 1.6. Okay, Swiss franc is currently at a negative 3.1. Okay, so USD is stronger than the Swiss franc at the moment, which means that there could be push exhaustion to monthly before then potential continuation move to the downside. Let's take it to the daily. All right, As we take it to the daily, we are seeing some double confirmation, right? Move, impulse, double confirmation, potential move to the upside. Let's take it to the 4H. All right, let's identify just so we know area sensitivity. Boom. Okay, that's mid-range. Why is that mid-range? Horizontal buy and sell pressure. Okay, so preferable, what are we looking for? Move back to the downside for BLO. If we don't get that, we don't get that. I'm not interested in this pair if it doesn't come back to our daily. Again, we don't look for strategy 2 SLOs or BLOs, sell limit orders, buy limit orders at 4H zones. It's either a monthly, weekly, daily zones, period. 4H zones are not optimal, okay? So we're looking for a move back to our daily and then move back to the upside. So our BLO will only be here, all right? That's it, all right? USD Swiss franc on the burner. It'll be too early for a signal on this pair. All right, moving it on now to CAD yen. CAD's currently at a positive 6, yen is at 0.6, yen is at a negative 5.7 monthly time frame. Fundamentals to the upside. We expect it likely to stay to the upside. Take a look at the Canadian dollar strength. I mean, as we know, like take a look at the strength, okay? And CAD yen's been pissing us off lately, hasn't it? Because on a couple of the pairs, it just touches our SL and then continues to the upside, or we're moving to profit and then there's random strength in the yen. Okay, so CAD yen's been a little bit annoying for us, but we did make some good profit on the lower moves to the upside. All right, so anyways, push, exhaustion, continuational move. Not much of an exhaustion at our daily strength, meaning we are actually overbought at the moment in terms of the higher time frame, so that we have to automatically lower our risk. However, what are we seeing here? Okay, we're seeing buy pressure. We saw this was the strength in the end that we didn't understand, okay? We had push, exhaustion, bullish engulfing candle. There should have been a continuational move. Now we had weird ass strength in the yen. Now we're seeing strength back in the Canadian dollar, but we have to wait for price to break this level of sell pressure. Again, we're waiting for push, exhaustion before then a continuational move. So our targets actually relatively stay the same. All right, so as we go to the 4H time frame, we know that sell pressure is now reaching, buy pressure is reaching an area of sell pressure, correct? We know that. We're not looking for sell limit order here. Why? Fundamentals are to the upside. Okay, if anything, we're looking for BLO at exhaustion, or we're going to wait for break, push, exhaustion, continuational push, or price action confirmation. Okay, CAD yen, moving on to CAD Swiss franc. Monthly time frame, CAD's currently at a positive 0.6, Swiss franc at a negative 3.1. Okay, fundamentals. All right, as we know, monthly time frame, really nice looking consolidation here. We saw weakness in the Canadian dollar with the announcement of coronavirus and the collapse in crude oil. Okay, then we had the length of coronavirus. Then we had virus vaccines announced, giving optimism, sending the Canadian dollar back to the upside. We have now push, exhaustion. As you can see, buy pressure came back in, and hopefully we have what is a continuational move to the upside to our weekly upper zone. Now let's take a look at the weekly time frame. Potential opportunity for double confirmation. We have exhaustion, potential opportunity for double confirmation before move to the upside. We could also see lower lows here, right? Boom. Could see a situation of this nature before move back to the upside. Let's take it to the daily. Okay, what's this? This is a push to the downside, exhaustion. We may see a continuational move. Okay, I'm not interested in a move to the downside on CAD Swiss franc, and I'm not interested in a move to the upside right now either. Okay, as you can see on the higher time frame, it looks like it's trading above, but as you can see on the higher time frame, these are pins. Okay, so we could have lower lows here until move to the upside. If we move our way, if this is a fast process to previous low, meaning it starts to make its way quickly to previous low, we may look at a buy limit order at some sort of range down here, okay, at the extension of the push. However, if we see it slow, we're going to wait for the break of the lower lows to the upside. Okay, so CAD Swiss franc, we're interested on this pair, but nothing serious yet. Pound USD. Pound's currently at a positive 0.4. USD is currently at a positive 1.6. Fundamental direction is to the downside on the pound. Okay, so thus this entry at the moment is removed. All right, we're going to take it to the monthly time frame. Okay, looks like the pound has strength, right? And that's because it relatively does. Okay, what do we see here? Move to our monthly zone. We have impulse move off the monthly zone, retest a previous high because fundamental support is to the upside. We have a monthly bullish engulfing candle close. A bullish engulfing candle on the higher time frame is what on the lower time frame? That's right, it is a push. What's after a push to the upside? Exhaustion to the downside. So this could be push, exhaustion before continuation push. Okay, it could be, all right? So, you know, we do see some horizontal level significant buy sensitivity. We are looking at that again. However, pound USD is currently to the downside. So I'm going to want to wait a little bit. I'm going to want to wait for, especially now since we're entering lower volume period of the market hour, I'm going to want to wait for a move back to this level before potential BLO to the upside. Okay, we could see that price move back to the upside, but again, fundamentals are to the downside. So we could see a contact before impulse. All right, let's be a little bit more patient here on pound USD, especially with what's going on there. We don't know, are they closing yet or are they not? Again, okay, numbers are rising in terms of new virus, or in terms of new. I'm going to take it to pound yen. All right, monthly time frame. Monthly time frame, you see a strong move to the upside, right? Anything against the yen, right? We know anything against the yen right now over time in the higher time frames has seen strength. Yen, safe haven currency, thus it is weaker over the last few months, right? As vaccines roll out, as optimism is higher. Again, we are seeing relative strength on the yen here and there, all right? Push, okay, exhaustion, continuation move, failing to break daily, back to the downside. Again, another random strength of yen. Usually we would see push, exhaustion, continuation move, back to the upside. Okay, push, failure of exhaustion. We are seeing a move now of entry of buy sensitivity. Here's my thing. I'm a little bit iffy on pound yen. We're a little bit too close to our monthly zone. We failed to see completion of exhaustion to actual area of support. Pound is not necessarily strong, fundamentally, you know, fundamentally right now we're seeing strength in the pound, but it's not necessarily going to stay strong if there's going to be lockdowns. We also have another area of sell pressure that price has to break. So we would be waiting for a push, exhaustion, price action, entry confirmation for a continuation move to the upside. The reality is we have to be careful here on pound yen. It's not as sexy as the technicals look, is what I'm trying to say. Technicals make it look really nice, right? The setup, but it's actually not as sexy as it looks. And that's because fundamentals take the cake. And right now fundamentals, all right, are not so good. All right, pound. Monthly upper, monthly lower, weekly upper, weekly lower, daily mid-range zone, pound CAD, okay? Pound is currently at a positive 0.4, CAD is currently at a positive 0.6. This means fundamentals are flat, thus we're looking for strat 2, okay? Let's take it to the monthly time frame quickly. Okay, so here we have a push breaking our daily. What's after a push to the downside? Exhaustion. Now the question is are we gonna see a continuational push? Well, doesn't necessarily look like sell pressure is showing that, is it? So as we take it to the weekly time frame, let's take it to the weekly. Okay, I want to see more sell pressure than we've been getting. Okay, I know this is strat 2. We're looking for an impulse to the downside. Not saying that this is a losing trade, okay? But we are seeing some horizontal buy pressure here that I do not like. Okay, we are seeing buy sell pressure try to move to the downside, buy pressure coming in. I do think we will make our way to this upper level of this channel, okay? So again, we mentioned this last week. You either extend your SL to, I would say, the 1.722 range, or you close out right now at even, okay? Up to you. As for me, probably I'm closing out at even on this pair, all right? Pound CAD, I'm closing out. If you want to hold, extend your SL. Okay? Wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of that entry either. Okay, so monthly time frame. Kiwi USD. Kiwi is currently at a negative 1.4. USD is a positive 1.6. Fundamentals are to the downside. Okay, now, as we see here on the monthly time frame, okay, we saw that Kiwis had a lot of strength against the USD. That's because Australia and New Zealand had done a relatively much better job than the US, okay, at dealing with the virus. Thus, the currencies have been stronger. But now the USD is starting to gain some strength. Fundamentals are to the downside. The extension on Kiwi USD kind of went to its full range, hitting its monthly zone. We may have a continuational move back to our weekly. Let's now take it to the daily time frame. What we can see is sell pressure is now breaking lows, right? As we can see, right? First off, what's important is this. What's very important is this. Actually, it's extremely important. When we start to talk about monthly zones, there's some sort of like magnet towards it. Meaning when price starts to get close to its monthly zones, there's usually is a contact before then a change in direction. In this scenario, we did not have contact. And think about that. Think about the length we moved. And we had one contact, but usually after one contact, right? Impulse, double confirmation before continuation move. So take a look at the move to the upside, and price failed to have a double confirmation. Okay, we had one contact of our monthly zones, all the take profits were closed out then. Okay, all the SLs were hit. And now we're seeing a failure of double confirmation before a move to the upside, before a move back to the downside. We see horizontal buy sensitivity and sell pressure breaking beneath. Fundamentals, this makes sense. Okay, we have a push, potential exhaustion, maybe a continuation move to the downside. Let's take it to the 4H. All right, we take it to the 4H time frame. What are we seeing? Push. We are seeing sell sensitivity come in. Okay, 1H time frame. All right, team. Let's see here. We do have some sort of respect here. Okay, so let's see here. If we get the break of this down, push, exhaustion, BLO to the downside. Okay, trade will look like this, as you can see. All right, let's adjust. SL, we will see here a sec. Boom. Targets, we will extend. Okay. Now, actually, you know what? Let's change. Let's hold off here for a second. There's going to be two separate entries: a higher time frame entry for a longer move to our weekly, and then a lower time frame entry for quick in, quick out back to previous low. Let's take it to the 15-minute time frame. Okay. Short position. Let's see, boom, okay. Okay, what are we waiting for here? Push to the downside, exhaustion, back to the level of sensitivity. Okay, as you can see here, we have horizontal sell pressure, buy pressure. Okay, so after the push, this will be where sell pressure comes back in. And then we're looking for a quick in, quick out back to previous low. So we're going to be placing, I'm going to be placing a sell limit order at 0.7 after, not now, after the break of the downtrend and close on the 15-minute time frame. I'm going to be waiting. I'm going to be then placing an SLO at 0.71450. SL will be at above these pins by a few pips. Let's extend this a bit. Yeah, our RR has to be proper. We're going to make it exactly a 1 to 2 risk reward. So SL will be at 0.71540. Some of you have some issues in terms of slippage, I think, meaning that your SL is being closed out before you actually hit your SL. That needs to be figured out. If that's the case for you in your account, okay, you have to give yourself a few extra pips. All right, Kiwi USD, which will affect your RR in this case, which is not good, which is why you need to figure it out. You need to go call your broker, okay? So that's unacceptable. The broker targets need to be executed to a T. Okay, Kiwi yen. We know that the Kiwi is stronger than yen. However, Kiwi is still weak at a negative 1.4, yen at a positive negative 5.7. Okay, we have strength in the Kiwi against the yen, like every other pair did, as the yen was the weakest. Okay, but now we're starting to see. Let's remove this. Now we're starting to see some really ugly movements, right? Really ugly movements. Okay, we have We have a bullish engulfing candle, failure of a continuational move at exhaustion. We have an uptrend that price is not necessarily respecting. Okay, in general, after a bullish engulfing candle breaking previous highs, this is very ugly movement. Okay, Kiwi yen, due to the fact that the Kiwi is weak and we have put options on CAD yen, Aussie yen, Euro yen. Okay, we're Kiwi yen. I'm not interested. All right, let's go gold. Okay. I'm a little bit concerned on gold in terms of a move to the upside. You know what? With gold, it's so tough fundamentally because right now, and the reason why is because it's just fluctuating based on any sort of news right now. Now, we're seeing a push breaking these lower lows. We have sell pressure at our monthly. This seems to be a little bit too early of an injection of buy sensitivity, to be honest with you. I'm not interested in gold right now until it breaks this monthly zone to the upside. I'm just not, because there's still optimism. Okay. Nick asks, how close attention should be paid to Germany's and France's economy since they're the two largest in the Eurozone? And the answer is very. All right. We know Germany and France, Germany number 1, France number 2, in terms of the most important to the Eurozone. Okay, and if they're struggling, okay, the euro will struggle. We have to very much pay attention to that. That's what we went over last week, right? We have to go over German GDP, German announcements and French announcements, just like we go over every other currency, right? All right, so we're now going to take it to Cardano. All right, Cardano, we have buy sensitivity at area we spoke about this, right? We have a signal in this pair, right? We have consolidation, push, exhaustion, buy sensitivity coming in instead of double confirmation, meaning strong exhaustion, impulse, and double confirmation before move to the upside. Buy pressure broke right back above area of consolidation. Push, exhaustion, continuational move. Okay, and we know this, and we have now double confirmation. Okay, on the lower time frame, we have buy pressure coming in. Okay, some of you had a buy limit order, which is great. Okay, if you haven't had a buy limit order, we now have to wait for exhaustion. Okay, double confirmation, break, push. We have to wait for exhaustion before continuation move if you are not already in. If you are already in, that's great. Okay, hold tight, close TP1 out at TP1, okay, at level of TP1, and then we're moving back to the downside for exhaustion, in my opinion. Okay, Aussie USD or ADA USD, we're now going to take it to NEO. I know that Jake had a BLO on NEO. Okay, strong move back to the upside from NEO, push, exhaustion. Okay, strong move back to the upside, taking it to the weekly time frame. Not much of an exhaustion off the weekly. Okay, we can see the break. Not much of an exhaustion off area sensitivity. Instead, we see a continuational move. We are extended right now. We're waiting for the daily exhaustion and the move back to the upside. Now, this BLO, okay, I'm not 100% on this. Okay, we're going to change this BLO. Okay, I'm not looking for a BLO at mid-range. BLO is now going to adjust. Okay, so whatever is shown there is going to adjust. That means SL will adjust. Okay. So we're changing Jake's BLO location. Okay, back to weekly zone. All right, so BLO will be at 42.00. Okay, 42.00. Exhaustion, continuational move. We are extended from the mean. Okay, all the mean reversion cells are going to be located at the daily as well. All right, we will see impulse to the downside from NEO. All right, team. So that's going to be it for today in terms of our marathon. Michael's asking what's my thoughts on USD ZAR. Okay, so I don't necessarily, we don't really trade the ZAR. We will do that for you. Okay. We want to trade very liquid pairs, okay? South African Rand, okay, not necessarily my favorite, all right? So we do have buy sensitivity off the monthly. Okay, this is a strong push, exhaustion. The question is buy pressure going to break back above the weekly or not? Okay, in my opinion, there is no move to the upside because we're reaching area of sell battle. Okay, and there is no move to the downside because we could see the break to the upside for higher time frames. So you have to wait here. You have to wait for the battle, either back to the downside or push exhaustion, move to the upside. Okay, and also stop. I actually wouldn't be moving. Scratch that. You're not looking for a move to the upside here. You're either going to see consolidation and a move to the downside, or you're going to see consolidation, stop hunt, and a move to the downside. Okay. But I'm not a big fan of trading this pair. We want really liquid pairs. Okay. USD is liquid as, of course, South African dollar, South African rand, not necessarily so much. All right, team. So you're very welcome, Michael. Very welcome, Nick. All right, team. So to those of you, Wally, Sharif, Senzo, Nick, Michael, Jacob, Chris, Jacob, brother, how are you doing, man? I miss you, man. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. And it makes it much more fun when you're watching live. For the 99.9% of you who watch this recorded, it's okay. I understand. I live on the other side of the world. All good. Love you too. Okay. Yeah, give me a message. DM me, buddy. Anyways, see you all tomorrow for the live session. Again, Wednesday is going to be a big one. I'll be working on the Wednesday session today and tomorrow. And let's keep rocking. Love you too, man. Let's keep rocking. And yeah, we're gonna have a good week ahead. We now have price making its extensions. We're going to be now looking. Okay, we're going to be now looking. We're hunters right now. Hunters. Okay, looking down that scope. Love you all. Keep rocking. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow.